Why do you still use an email address? Why is email even needed these days? Maybe it's because you still have to register for many services using an email, and that's now starting to get phased out with phone numbers and other apps which allow you to connect to services through a button when you're just logged in. About 5 years ago, a transition started to take place that's still happening now. Email started to get replaced. And these days, most people use their mobile phones for absolutely everything. So why would they, need email addresses, or why would we even need an email address? They're, your customers, they're already logged into other apps. They have a phone number available to use to register for things. They have chat apps they use to communicate with their friends as opposed to sending an email. So what's the point in building a subscriber list? Is it really that important? Well, I want to provide you with a thesis today in this video that email is still important, but not nearly as important as the emphasis put on it around building a subscriber list, and that there is a new, more modern way, a better way you can build an audience around yourself and you as a person, as a personal brand, without having to fork out thousands of dollars for an email marketing software or having to deal with all of the issues that come with trying to grow independently over social media platforms. A new platform that I'm going to call a community hub that not only makes it easier than ever to unite your following on social media, but is like a modern email inbox where everyone who wants to can gain access to all of your newest updates and what you're doing within your community, all without distractions. So while you're building, you can build and grow independently of social media platforms with all the benefits you've been promised by email, but without, the simple fact that people just don't open their emails. They're going to pay attention to what you do through one of these new technological community hubs though. So let's start there. What actually is a community hub? Well, what a community hub is what an email inbox kind of used to be. So right now, the difference is from what we did in the past is when I first got started online, this was about 15 years ago. And the main thing that I was told is that you need to build a subscriber list. So I started writing articles, I started doing blog posts, I started doing whatever I could to build this email list. I would release ebooks with, my website URL and a place where people could fill out a form. And I would send that around constantly. And I actually managed to build up a subscriber list, about 3,000 people just from doing all of this work to try and get out there. And from that 3,000 people, that got me my start. I started selling, affiliate marketing products, started referring people to different things, started making money from communicating with that subscriber list. And that grew and grew and grew to the stage where I think it's at its peak. It was over 100,000 people that I was able to email, many of them then customers at that stage. And, at its peak, I was probably making, six figures, at least six figures a month from my email subscriber list. It was working really, really well. However, what happened is that it kind of met a peak about 5 years ago and started to go down. And this was about the time where, you might have noticed this as well, people started to use their smartphones for everything. So previously, you'd have to go onto the internet with a computer, and then suddenly smartphones came around and they were becoming popularized. And most people didn't have a computer. They were instead, accessing everything on their mobile device. And what happened is that people were able to just access everything they needed from these apps. They would go to the App Store, download an app, then they would get access to what they needed, as opposed from having to go to their email account, like you do on a computer still sometimes, to get all their information. So less and less people needed their email inbox, and declining usage of the inbox itself has led to less and less people actually needing email. So what this community hub does and where it fits in is that if you now, in this modern day of the internet, want to build a business through the different channels available to you, through advertising, through social media, through writing books, or however else you're marketing, instead of sending people to an email sign up on your website or wherever you want to put it, because if you do that, let's start with that first. So if you go ahead, you send people from your different social media networks through, they fill out this information with your email. They fill out this information, and then they open whatever you give them, and then they don't open their email after that. They have no sort of pattern of opening their email, and they're not really going to be accessing the information that you're sending out. Maybe a few of them will be, but you're going to find less and less people are. So instead, what you do is you get people where they're actually using their device. So on a mobile device, for example, you get them to install an app, or you get them to sign up for your community, where you have this hub of everything that you do, which is for your most premium fans, for example. So You're bringing people in from social media, you're uniting them into this community hub, and then from there, you can send out emails, you can make posts, you can run events, you can keep people up to date with what you're doing and your content. You can sell through, chat, which people are really used to doing on their mobile phones now. And they're doing more regularly than they would be with their email. So this is where this idea comes in of this community hub, and that's really what it is. It's this central component that replaces your email inbox and utilizes email to engage people who are your best followers. And the bigger you build these community hubs up, the more potential you'll have to make money, the better you'll be able to engage people that are interested in what you're doing. And also it'll free you from these different social networks where you have to kind of go according to the algorithm, and you have to kind of be a little bit concerned about, what posts you're putting out there, making sure that they're not going to get you banned or have any issues like that. This hub is kind of a place where people will always be able to find you. Now, why do I like this idea, and why do I believe this is the next stage that things are going? Well, the reason is that I think that at this point in time, we've come from this place where websites were first the most important thing. Everyone needed a website in order to make money online or promote their business. And then that transitioned into people running their own personal brands over social media. Then sales funnels started to become popularized. And we went through the different cycles of people realizing what a sales funnel was, how to use a sales funnel, how to generate leads, all of this. And then after that, people have kind of either familiar with that, people that have used that were, or gone through a sales funnel, have gone through them several times now. They're kind of tired of them. There's a trust factor here as well. If you see someone over social media promoting a sales funnel these days, you kind of expect to see a bunch of upsells and upgrades, which can actually do damage to your image if you use it too frequently. So the alternative to that is giving people what they want, which is more of you. So I like this idea because a community hub, it doesn't take them into some, disattached marketing thing, which is like a sales funnel or an email marketing software. It's kind of detached. They want more of you. What it does, it actually gives them what they want. It gives them a place where they can continue to engage with you personally, with your brand, with your community. And it kind of keeps them in this place where they can, continue to consume your content on a regular basis without having to be detached from your community and from your different ideas. And it's better in this sense as well that every single post you do in one of these community hubs, and hopefully this isn't getting too technical, and I'll try and explain this in a way that's easy to understand. When people get brought into these community hubs, you can do posts into this community hub, and others can do posts as well and discuss different ideas, kind of like you would over social media, but it's within your own brand's umbrella. And when you make a post, if it's a good post or a premium post or something that you think people in a particular social media network that you have would be interested in, you can just post a link to the post. People then can register smoothly for your community hub without having to go to this like static landing page where you're kind of making a pitch. There's no need for a pitch. It's like, hey, if you want to read this post, sign up for my community here. Cool. They sign up, they download the app, or they access it from their phone, and then, they're ready to go. That's where these community hubs fit in. And this is why this technology is really, really useful and working really well. So I'm using this, if you didn't guess. I've been using a community hub for uniting my following over the past 6 months. And what I've noticed is that my business has not suffered from it at all. If anything, I've been able to build better relationships with my customers. The way I'm selling has completely transformed. And that's why I believe this strategy is so good. As opposed from what I previously do, which was selling through email and then selling through support, very static, marketing-orientated kind of approach. Now what I'm seeing is that I'm building better relationships with my clients. I'm building better relationships with my customers. I'm getting clients coming through these communities that I'm building. I'm selling more products through these communities I'm building. I'm doing full product launches through these communities where I'm generating tens of thousands of dollars solely from my efforts within the community, letting them know about something that's coming up that I wouldn't usually post over social media, but I can because it's acceptable within the culture that I've created within this community hub. And that's another really key component of this, and why it's just so much better than email, because if you send out emails, like I had someone today reach out to me actually, and I had rebranded a software of ours. I had completely rebranded it. It was no longer Scholar, it was Community, and thing of being separated. This happened like 3 months ago, and I emailed like nonstop for about 2 weeks, letting everyone know about it. So everyone had to have known about this, I thought. Then I got in question, how do I log in? My login isn't working. I checked, and it's like they're logging into this old site. They didn't get notified about my emails. They had no idea. So, obviously, if they had been in one of these community hubs, they were in this software before I had actually set up a community for it, then they would have been notified. I could have sent out an email from it, which they may still not have received, but at least I could have sent out a notification, or they would know where they could find information about this new login URL. They could just log into the community and see, oh, the URL changed. So that's kind of how the strategy works, and here is why it's better than list building. I've kind of touched on a few of these points, but instead of building a list, building a list is a static thing. If you're paying for monthly for a email marketing software, maybe you want to rethink that at the moment, because the fact is that social media is where people are at the moment. People are on their phones. They're not on their inbox waiting for your emails to come in. Most people will check them sporadically, maybe every week. Some people don't even need their inbox. They'll forget they even have one. And then they'll log in when they need to register for a service, which requires just an email. So that's something to really think about. Is list building worth it these days? Now, personally, I do believe that list building is still worth it, but will it be in 5 years? I do not think so. I think that now you should be building for the upcoming changes that are going to be happening in the internet. And one of those is that we're no longer going to need email. So what are we going to need? Well, we're going to need a place to connect. People want to be able to connect with your brand. They want to be able to connect with you personally. They don't want to have to, read your social media posts on a particular website and then not be able to engage directly with you. They want more of you. That's what is kind of working within this supposed, creator economy these days. They want more of you. So how do you give them more of you? Well, what I believe is better than list building is a place, a community where you can communicate directly with your audience. They can open up chats with you. They can see when events that you're running are happening. They can, if you have training, access that training from this one place. They know if you suddenly get censored off social media, they can log into one particular, your community hub, and see that you're still there and still engage with you. With list building, it's difficult because if you've built a list and you're active over social media, and then suddenly something happens, maybe your account gets shut down, or some strange thing happens, and you can't communicate. So you're like, well, I'll send out an email. How many people are actually going to be receiving that email? Only a fraction of the people that would be accessing your social media posts. So give people one place where they can always get access to you. And the other thing is, I would go as far to say that this is even better than a website. Why not have a landing page for your community hub instead of a website? You can direct people to your website, your URL. They can then sign up for your community hub, and then the community hub does everything else. It takes care of the communication, allows people to enter into discussions. It's way more engaging than a website. Plus, people can see all of your products that you're selling. They can engage with you directly, book a call with you, or if you have a team that runs consulting calls for you, if you're scaling up your business, you have that potential within this system. So why not do that? Now, I'm talking about these ideas and I'm explaining this different software and these different ideas. But if you want to find out more about how to do this yourself, if you want to be able to build a community hub, we've been working on a new technology and it is called Community at community.com. If you go to community.com, you can actually sign up and see this in action. Or if you go to sambacker.com, sign up there, you'll be able to register for my community hub and see exactly how we're using this and why it's working really well for us. Now, you don't need to purchase anything. Obviously, if you want to buy the software, go ahead, that's fine, but that's not why I created this. There are other solutions out there that allows you to create these community hubs. You can create these yourself. I'm not saying that you need to use our solution at all, but if anything, investigate how we're using this, learn from how we're doing this, because it's working right now, and I'm selling more at the moment through this community hub than I am through my email subscriber list. And that's the first time that this has happened. I've always sent out emails. I've emailed my subscriber list, several times every week for the last 10 years. And I haven't had a situation where it's been overtaken before in the way that it's being overtaken by our community hub, because people are in there, they're plugging in, and they're getting information from this community hub. And everyone who wants to still be on email, still get information from us on email, the community hub itself sends out the emails. So I don't need an email marketing software to do that for me. So check that out. Go down below, I've got a link to it. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe. There'll be more content on these community hubs, more content on marketing in general coming up as well. So do make sure you get in touch and subscribe as well. And yeah, like this video. Talk to you soon. All right. See you later.